It was really scary.
Just outside Birmingham, Alabama,
He just leaned over and put his hands around my throat.
in one of 100 homes with perfectly manicured lawns.
My daughter was standing behind me just screaming. I'm going to die and she's going to see it.
A young mother who moved here from Atlanta told police her ex-boyfriend had her life in his hands.
Both hands around your neck?
Yes, both hands.
And he started squeezing?
Yes.
At a moment where you feel as though your life could be over, the only thing you were worried about was your daughter who was watching.
At first, I thought about myself. And then after that split second of like, oh gosh, I'm going to die, it was my daughter's watching.
Hoover police were called to the November 2018 incident. The responding officer wrote the suspect began choking the victim. He saw scrapes on the victim's elbow, and on a recording he watched, you can hear the victim screaming.
He explained the procedure to me. That was never fully explained to me by any other officer, is what happens next, the options for filing for protection from abuse, and all those sorts of things that I didn't know existed. I didn't know those resources were there. He taught me all of it.
You got the feeling this is the first officer who's really going to help me.
Yes, sir.
So what did he say?
Just basically, if you don't leave, he's going to kill you.
A few blocks over, just a few months later, that same Hoover police officer was on the scene of another domestic disturbance with his own wife.
Who was the officer they sent to your home?
Jason McIntosh.
Who's now in prison for murdering his own wife.
Yes, sir.
The body of 31-year-old Megan Louise Montgomery was discovered.
Sunday, Montgomery's body was found in a Mountain Brook parking lot.
Police believe her life was taken during a domestic dispute.
Montgomery's estranged husband is 44-year-old Jason McIntosh, a former Hoover police officer.
There was a killer in this room, and it wasn't your abuser. It was the police officer sent to help you. A future killer.
He killed his wife. It was absolutely terrifying to think that the one person that had given me the courage to speak up against my abuser and to actually follow through and press charges. So to know the reasoning behind how he knew that I would end up dead if I didn't follow through is just, it's chilling.
Before Megan's murder, there were multiple domestic calls at Officer McIntosh's own home.
He was arrested earlier this year following a report of a domestic altercation. Now, police say McIntosh was charged with domestic violence after a fight with his wife.
McIntosh was awaiting trial for the latest incident when he killed Megan in 2019. The letter scheduling her testimony arrived right after her murder. Earlier that year, McIntosh resigned from the force after Megan was shot in the arm during a struggle over his service weapon.
It was really close to home. She lived right down the street.
By all accounts, she pulled his gun to protect herself from him, and she got shot in the arm with his gun. But they determined she was the primary aggressor because she pulled the gun.
I think that's very common in domestic violence. The woman is labeled as the aggressor because when it finally gets to the point where police are involved, the woman is now hysterical.
After Megan Montgomery was shot in the arm with his gun, state investigators gave him that gun back, and that's the gun he used to kill Megan.
31-year-old Megan Montgomery did have a protection from abuse order against her estranged husband.
The same man who came to Lola's rescue that night back in late 2018, a police officer who seemed to know all about domestic violence.
No, you need to take this seriously. Here are the steps. And if you don't, we might come back here for you being dead.